What up, you guys? Thank you once again for tuning in. Now in today's video, I'll be demonstrating how to do some high tapers. These are normally the high tapers that I normally do, but to begin with, you always want to make sure that you look at the cowlick and you want to follow the pattern in which direction it goes. You always want to make sure that you are really careful with these type of haircuts, because you can't just go in right away, because sometimes you can either patch them, but that's why it's really important to comb out and make sure that every wave comes out nice and neat. Alright, you guys, so before we begin, my client did tell me that he wanted a 1.5 all the way around, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with the number 2 on the crown area. Now, one of the reasons why is because when you start on the crown area, you always want to make sure you leave it a little bit thicker, so that way he can create that pattern, whatever pattern that he wants to go for. But you always want to make sure you give it more of a higher number on the crown area, so that way it'll be much easier for him to create those waves. Now, with my number 1 guard, I do have my lever all the way open. Now I'm gonna go ahead and continue to remove the rest of the length. Now keep in mind, you guys, when you have the lever all the way open, it does equivalent to a 1.5. Now with my gold FX trimmers, I'm gonna go ahead and start from the temple point to create my first initial guideline. Now my next step, I do have my lever all the way open to create my second guideline. Now you probably did see the master blade on the seniors. So pretty much what I did, I drilled 2 holes on the bracket, and then from there I kind of leveled it out a little bit. So my next step on this right now, it's closing my lever all the way closed, and pretty much I'm playing with the lever just to get rid of that first initial guideline. Okay, you guys, so on my number 1 guard, I do have the lever all the way open, so I'm gonna go ahead and begin to debulk some of this area, just making sure I comb down so that way I can see the areas that I need to bring down. Now another way to bring down some of the bulk, you can go with the grain. It's another tip where it blends in right into the taper.
Also.
Now I did attach my 116 guard just to remove some of the areas, pretty much do a cleanup work with the 116, and staying consistent to making sure this taper stands out. So when I create these tapers, I always have the habit of just lining up around the ear, just to kind of get a glance of how the taper is coming out, just to make sure if I miss some of the areas, because pretty much when you do the lineup, it does expose certain areas. So I did notice some of the areas that needed to be touched, so I do have my lever all the way closed, and pretty much what I'm doing is giving that detail work. Now for the back area, it's pretty much the same steps. I always try to stay consistent with the same steps that I do on the side. So as you can see, you guys, I'm creating my first guideline with my babyless trimmers. I'm just trying to create that perfect line. Now to continue this process, I do have my lever all the way open to create a second guideline. Now keep in mind, you guys, you do have a more of an open area to work with, but you always want to make sure you keep your guidelines nice and neat. Now to get rid of that previous guideline, keep in mind, you guys, I do have my lever all the way closed, but you're also going to see how the way, I play with the lever and using the corners just to get rid of that previous guideline.
DJ also.
Okay, you guys, so I do have my number 1 guard attached with the lever all the way open. Now, as you can see, you guys, I'm starting to soften out this guideline. Combing down as well is another good method where, it makes your job a lot easier. So that way you can see where exactly you're fading. But another good tip, you guys, is going down with the grain as well. It's another good tip where, especially with waves, because sometimes, when you starting to fade up, it kind of leads to little dark areas, but going with the grain is another good way to do it. Last but not least, you guys, I do have my 1/16 guard. And pretty much what I'm doing, I'm getting rid of the rest of that dark areas. Now I know this 1/16 guard is the old 16 guard that comes with the magnetic guards. I know a lot of people has been asking me like, yo, like, where did you find this guard? Like, it's hard to find. I know they give you like different type of 1/16 guards, but man, I can say that, I take care of my stuff, but at the same time, you guys, soften out this guideline as well. Okay, you guys, now I am back with with my lever all the way open with no guard. So pretty much what I'm doing right now is just detail work. Detail work is really important to me. So just by playing with the levers, and using your corners, making sure the taper stands out, just brushing at the same time, you guys, but at the same time you always want to make sure that you don't overdo it by creating guidelines. Now for the other side of the taper, it's pretty much the same steps. So as you can see, you guys, I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit, but just keep in mind, you guys, that you remember the steps that you do on the other side of the taper. You don't want to create different type of tapers, and you're gonna start to see different type of I just want to say tapers, you guys, but just stay consistent with your steps and remember them.
DJ also. DJ also.
Now before I do my lineups, one thing I do like to apply on the waves is this product called Peruvian. Now it is a foam where it just kind of, you apply on the waves, and then you just brush down and use your blow dryer at the same time as you're brushing. But at the same time, it kind of gives it that shiny look, and that's also another good way, when it comes down to doing your edge up, it gives it a nice sharp look. So when it comes down to lining up, one thing I always, it's a habit. I know that a lot of people would like to start from the front area and work yourself going back, whatever, but my thing is I like to start from the neck area when it comes down to a lineup, because one thing I like to see is how the work comes out, because when you do a lineup, of course it exposes the fade, but it's always been my thing where I like to line up the neck area first, and then just after that I just go for the front hairline. Now to give this hairline more of a crispier look, I am using some color enhancement just to make this hairline stand out, even the cut too, but at the same time, you guys always want to make sure to apply just enough where the cut really does stand out. Now when it comes down to using a razor, you always want to make sure that you stretch out the skin so that way you can give it that sharp look. So after applying the product, you guys, I do like to go over the top and on the side just to get rid of some of the loose hairs. Alright, you guys, so this is the final look, some high tapers. I really do hope that you guys end up learning something new. If you guys end up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're new to this channel, you guys. But at the same time, I know you notice on the neck, beard area, whatever, I did leave some of the hairs, whatever. But my habit with me is every time I loosen up the cape, I always like to clean up the neck area. But it's always been my habit. But alright, you guys, till next time.